by the way?
No, not yet.
Actually,
Not yet?
yeah, I've
No.
shared him like through mobile. Actually, I came out. I didn't see my laptop properly. Shared him, but the thing is, mail sent, but the files, whatever is there, right? Uh,
Mm.
Let me send him right now in another 5 minutes. I'm just reaching Bangalore in 5 minutes.
Or
So I'm
like, okay. Or if there's a challenge with you, I can send it again.
yes, sure. That's also
Or
fine.
do you want me to send it to him directly? Because sometimes what happens is too much of content and it is difficult to send because so much is there. Sometimes because security concern reverts back.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Just give me one moment, please.
Mhm.
Even yesterday, it was like the files was 2 month files. So when I send him, like it was still showing like a draft only. I'm sending it again, the same issue.
Yeah, sorry for that. Sorry for that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. Okay, now what we'll do is, and we'll do a small revision of what we covered yesterday, and then take it from there. Okay, now here we go. Now, if you remember the ADM, right? So many things we discussed yesterday. First thing, if you remember the ADM, right? Can you tell me few things we do in preliminary phase?
In preliminary phase, actually, we will kind of agree on or propose the scope. What is that exactly? And also we will prepare the document
Okay.
for the work which we have to do, request
Okay.
for architectural work. And
Good.
we also kind of agree on having a governance board, kind of who will be part of it, all those things. And we also kind of agree, sorry, to kind of set a vision.
Okay.
And I think those are the things which we do as part of preliminary stage.
Thank you so much. Now listen carefully. Few things here. Now, preliminary phase, you prepare for the architecture work.
Correct.
Correct. So few things what you do. For example, you request the request for architecture work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who sends that? It is sent by the sponsor to the architecture organization. Getting
Your
it?
Voice is low. Could you just?
Sure. 1 moment. Thank you. Now,
Yeah, no.
It is sent by by the, who sends that, by the way? Who sent it, by the way?
It will be the sponsor.
It is the sponsor to the
architectural team.
Very good. Yeah. To the architecture organization. Sorry for that. Now, second thing, you have to establish the architecture team, because If you have to carry out an architecture work, you have to establish architecture team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, who will be part of the architecture team? For example, the chief architect, the domain architect, the solution architect, the quality, all those people.
Correct.
Third one, you have to establish the architecture board, because you cannot do an architecture work until you start with an architecture board.
Correct.
Yeah, they will manage you, they will control you, they will make decisions for you, things like that.
Correct.
Yeah, also you agree on the scope, right? And things like that.
Correct.
One more thing here, you have to decide on the principles.
Principles, yes.
Getting it? Because if you have to do an architecture, you have to decide which are the principles you're going to use.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So a few things what you do in the preliminary phase. Next one, can you tell me a few things you do in the phase A?
You finalize the scope, and you also come up with the what do you call that? What should be the common? Okay, I think I'm just getting combining these two. Yeah, I understand. So probably just
no problem. Yeah. What happens is phase A is a phase where you establish the architecture.
Yeah.
Getting it? You prepare for the architecture in the preliminary phase. Everything is finalized in phase A.
Okay.
Right now, keeping that in mind, few things, for example, you have to finalize the scope. Yeah. Also, you prepare a statement of architecture work. Getting it? Now, what is a statement of architecture work? It is a contract you sign with the client. Yeah. Statement of architecture work contain the scoping details, it will be there, the architecture details will be there, and plus so many other things. So please remember, statement of architecture with a contract you sign with the client.
Okay.
Second thing, if you remember, we also prepare the architecture vision document.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the architecture vision document about? It speaks about what is the aspirational view of the architecture you're planning to make.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will talk about the baseline arc, what is the current architecture of the client, and the target you're planning to make. Getting it? Yeah. So phase A, if you look at that, so many other things we do actually. We will be discussing in level 2 actually. Yeah.
Architectural, aspirational, what do you call that?
View of the architecture you're planning to make.
Okay.
Yeah. So what you do in phase A is establish the architecture work, finalize the architecture work, and start the architecture work in phase A.
Correct.
Okay? So please remember, if they ask you a question, which is the first phase of the architecture work, it is phase A, not preliminary phase.
Okay.
Because
vision is the first phase, yeah.
Correct. Preliminary phase, you are just preparing for the architecture work. Phase A, what you do, you finalize everything, and the first phase of the architecture, it is basically in phase A.
Yeah. So can you just give me kind of a more real-time example of a statement of work versus the architectural vision? What do you cover as part of a statement of work, and what do you cover as part of architectural vision? How do they differ?
Sure. Now, if you look at the architecture vision, it is specific to the architecture you're going to develop. Getting it? Architecture vision is specific to the architecture you're going to make.
Can you give me 1 second? Sorry to can you give me like example, more like a real-time example? Take any fintech, tech, whatever you take, and just give me more example where, let's say, for example, architectural work for probably a bank or something like where specifically you're delivering something, or how does it? Could you just give me more little specific?
Now, if you want to develop an architecture for Bank of America, right now, for you to develop the architecture, a requirement has been given to you by the client.
Correct.
Getting it now, what you need to do in phase A, two things here. One, you have to tell the client what is the final architecture going to look like. Getting it? If I have to develop an architecture for the bank, what is the final architecture going to look like? It is very important.
No, but you define that actually, and it evolves through the process of only it would be kind of agreed or finalized by the stage E, correct?
Well, the thing is, initially when you create an architecture vision document, it is created basically to tell the client what is the aspirational view going to be, or what is the final architecture going to look like.
Yeah, that is still not sure, correct? It's kind of more of a document. It is,
well,
it is technical.
It is a document. It is a document. However, initially when you deal with the client, you have to tell them what is the final architecture you're planning to make. For example, Srini is planning to make an architecture for Bank of America, right? You have to explain to Bank of America what is the final architecture going to look like.
But
getting it now?
How does Srini knows it? He's still kind of in the initial stages itself, correct?
Because you have been given a request for architecture work, requirement has been given to you. So whatever you prepare here, it is not the final architecture. However, you are giving a basic idea to the client.
Okay.
Getting it? Okay. You tell Bank of America that, if you remember the template we looked into, architecture vision is basically your vision of the architecture you're planning to make.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on the requirement given to you by the client, you will have a plan what exactly is going to look like the final architecture. So basically architecture vision, it will speak about, for example, the current architecture of the client and the final architecture you're planning to make.
Okay.
Getting now, statement of work contains so many other details. Getting it? Statement of work is a contract, so that will contain the scope of the architecture work, the architecture vision details also will be part of it, and so many other details. Yeah, the schedule of work, so many details will be part of the statement of work, because statement of work is more of a contract between you and the client.
No, I understand. But I'm trying to understand what will be covered as part of it actually, because the statement of work also need to have some vision information. I was thinking, do you if you won't mind, actually, your previous any bank, anywhere you prepared these documents, which anyway, I'll keep it confidential if you won't mind sharing it, kind of just sharing a glimpse of it.
Let me show you this one moment. Now, can you see this on the screen? Can you see this on the screen?
Yeah, I can see that.
Now, if you look at this one, it is called statement of architecture work, right? So let's see what does it say. Now, statement of architecture work, what is the purpose of statement of architecture work? Basically define the scope and the approach you're going to take for the architecture work. Getting it? Means statement of architecture work contains all the detailing of the scope and the approach you're going to take. Secondly, if you remember, as I told you, it will work as a contractual agreement between you and the client. Getting it? Now, let's have a look at the detail, what it contains. Let's have a look at the detail. Here we go. Statement of work may contain the title of the project request which came from the client, the background of the client, the project description, the scope, right? Architecture vision is also part of the statement of work.
That's the reason I was telling.
Yeah. Because it's a contract. That's what I was telling you. Even the vision will be part of the statement of architecture work because it's a contract. Getting it? Second one, what is the approach you are going to take to deal with the architecture work? The change of scope procedures. If you want to make a change on the scope, how do you go? How are you going to proceed for it? Who is going to pay for it? All the details. Yeah, the roles and responsibilities of the people involved, acceptance criteria of the client, the project plan, what exactly are you planning, and even the schedule, right? When are you planning to do it? Yeah, all this has to be approved. So finally, what we have the signature approval by the client. Getting it? So this is actually the statement of architecture. So please keep in mind, statement of architecture work contain all details of the project, the scoping, architecture vision, everything will be part of it.
And where do you get this templates actually?
It is given by the open group. I have shared it with you already.
Okay. No, in the website it is there?
Yeah, you can find it online.
Okay.
Yeah, even you can go to the open group website, or you can go to Google and you can check on it.
No, I want to see that open group one because it's more kind of updated, recent, kept. Okay. Anyway, that's fine. Yeah.
Now, let's have a look at the other one. Now, what exactly is an architecture vision? Yeah. Now, can you see this on the screen? What is architecture vision?
I can see.
Now, let's have a look at the content of that. Now, architecture vision, what is the purpose of architecture vision is basically, right, it will provide a high-level aspirational view of the end architecture product. Means, please remember, architecture vision is focusing on the architecture you're going to make. What is the final architecture you're going to deliver to the client?
Okay.
Getting it, for example.
No, I understood that. But how do you really frame that sense? Kind of, how do you actually document it? What is that exactly? Do you have any kind of real-time or hypothetical one? Not the template, actually, I'm asking. What I meant to say is, let's say, aspirational view of architectural document. How do you really represent it? What has been done in the past? How do they document it? Do you have any real-time example for it?
Well, look for that actually. Open group hasn't shared with me anything, so let me search for it. Okay. Now, if you look at the architecture vision, it will contain the problem description of the client. Now, please remember, every client comes to you because they have a problem, right? Maybe a performance problem or a profitability problem. Yeah, any form of issues. Yeah, so that's why they come to you. So when I create an architecture vision or the architecture, finally, it should address the concerns of the client. Yeah, so the problem description of the client or the concerns of the client has to be addressed, right? What are the issues the client is going through, right? The objective, why I'm doing it, right? The process description, the people involved, things like that. Now, please remember, architecture vision document you create, it is focusing on the architecture you're going to create finally. Right? It is basically focusing, but if you look at the statement of work, it is a combination of so many different things, including the architecture vision.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So statement of architecture work is a contract, including all the details of the project, the scoping, architecture vision details, everything will be part of it.
Okay.
Getting it? However, if you look at architecture vision, it is focusing only on the architecture you're going to create. Now, you want to create an architecture for Bank of America, statement of architecture vision will include every detailing of the project, the scope including, and the architecture vision, and you sign a contract using that. Yeah, but if you look at architecture vision, it is only telling the bank that this is the final target architecture I'm going to create. These are the basic details I'm going to deal with you.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So that is the difference between statement of work and the architecture vision. Getting it? Yeah. One is focused on the scope and the final architecture, no, scope and every detail of the project. Second one, architecture vision, it is focused only on the architecture, nothing else.
Got it. Okay. And where do you get this in the website?
Yeah. Well, the template you can find on the Open Group website library. You can find it there, right?
Could you just show me that once if you don't mind?
Okay. Or you can go to Google and search for it. Yeah.
No,
even if you go to Google, all it is put in the public domain by Open Group. Yeah. Okay. Can you see that on the screen? Presentation templates.
Open that.
Yeah. TOGAF Standard templates and all that. Yeah. Open that.
No, just open that actually, just if you want.
Yeah. It will take you to the Open Group. Yeah. So many things are there on the Open Group. Yeah.
Yes, even I couldn't find it properly. That's the reason I just no, it's not any of those documents. It's more of a How did you get that before?
Now, here we go. So all the template, in fact, I downloaded from the Open Group. Yeah, everything is available. Yeah, even you can now case studies available for a global financial survey. Can you see that on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is there. Yeah. So you can download that depending on your requirement. You add to download, you can become a member of that and you create your username, password and download it.
No, all these are in PDF format, correct?
It is available. Yes, PDF format.
But what you are showing is in a Word document.
Yeah, see that. Yeah. Getting it? So likewise, so many others.
No, but there's nothing in this one.
Yeah, it's a basic one. Okay, so likewise, so many other we have to find for it. Let's go back.
No, this is once again a kind of just a one pager, nothing in it. Okay, it's fine. I think you can check it out later and let me know where to find it. Probably it's taking more time. We can go through the. I need more kind of from a real-time templates actually and documentations what we have, what you would have prepared. It would be helpful actually.
Can you see this on the screen? Can you see this
Yeah,
case studies? Yeah, can you see that? Okay.
yeah.
Here, I may not say everything is available. Some, for example, some of the, it's very, very sensitive case studies. Yeah, but there are 10 case studies available here. You can open this and check on detail what is available. Yeah. For example, this particular Department of Social Security UK. Yeah. So it's a case study, the detail, and everything will be there. Yeah, you can check on that. Yeah. So much of information it is given there. Yeah. See that summary, foundation, model, all that. When with you, yeah. So all the details are given there. Yeah. So here we go. Summary. Yeah.
See, not that. For this case study, where is the statement of work or the kind of architectural vision document?
Well, I don't think statement of work will be given in everything. Some of which will be there. Yeah. And you can check on that presentation PDF. Yeah. Let me check on that. Okay. So do one thing, check on the case study and see any of this, you can find it. However, a statement of work, let me see if I can get one of it. Yeah, as per open group is they haven't shared anything like that to me. Yeah. And let me see.
No, but you would have done for other organizations, correct?
Well, as I told you, with respect to helping one of the organization, yeah, and the first bank I did for Nigeria. Let me check on that, what all is available. Okay. Okay, so wait for that, and statement of work as such, let me check on that. Yeah, so maybe after the session, let me check on if it is available. Yeah, what all they prepare, and even if they prepare the statement of work, yeah, it may not be publicly available for everybody to know.
No, that's the reason I'm asking you. You would have prepared for you when you did some work.
Yeah. So the first bank thing, let me check anything is available with me.
No, I don't. I played around. I didn't find those things yesterday.
Which one?
It looks like a request for architectural work.
Okay, yeah. So check on this also, TOGAF ADM, somewhere they used in that. Yeah. With you, yeah. Statement of work is a populated one. I don't know whether I have one with me at all. Yeah, I can check on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So meanwhile,
just share me the respective documents prepared for any other banks or any of those things. so that I really kind of can correlate. Let's say, for example, architectural vision is something very abstract. In the template, it is not quite clear what is how they document it, articulate it, all those things. So it's important to get something more closely related to the real time.
You can do is when you go back home, check on this case study, whatever is given here. Right? Check on those, open this case study and see anywhere you can find on that. Okay. And let me see statement and R, because I don't think I have any of those. Yeah. Other than the template. Yeah. And then we have to get into the further case study or, any entire detailed project where we can get into all this. Yeah. So let's look into that. So today, when you go back home, look into this one, see if you can get any of the document that can help you with that. Okay. Now, let's get back to that. Let me also check from my end. I'll do that. Okay, now coming back to statement of work and the architecture vision. Did you understand that architecture vision is focused on the architecture you're going to finally deliver?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the statement of work, it contains all the scoping of the architecture work and all the details, because you have to get into a contract with the client.
Yeah.
So this is the difference there. Now, populated one, good. If you get that, we can look into that, get into further detail, but look into the case study which I showed you. There'll be so many documents which can help you with that. Okay, now, statement of work per se, every organization, yeah, we provide a template. The open group provides a template to them, and based on that, many times they prepare. However, some of them they customize according to the requirement, and in consultation with the architect, that also happens.
Sorry, could you repeat that last sentence?
Some of the statement of work, it could be customized depending on the client. Getting into many clients who may be using a certain format of working, they will try to customize statement of work, because, for example, if you look at Lloyd's Bank, you may have a statement of work already in your organization. Yeah, it may not be aligning exactly to TOGAF, but you will have a statement of work.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah, it goes by different names.
No, that's true. But I wanted to understand by looking at the real one. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, yeah. Now, coming back to phase A, it is where we establish the project. Getting it? Everything is established in phase A. Now, phase B, what exactly is phase B? What do you understand by phase B?
What do you, sorry?
Yeah, phase B, what exactly you do?
In phase B, basically we'll put in a core, kind of set the vision, or a kind of document the business requirements in a more kind of agreed business requirements expected from the architectural review, or those things. Yeah.
Thank you. Now I'll do one thing. In between, when you go for a 5-minute break, maybe I'll try to get 1 or 2 statement of work for you. Okay, so don't worry on that. And with you now, business architecture, as we discussed yesterday, it is about the architecture organization. Yeah. So if you are planning for in TOGAF, we cover 4 domains. Yeah, the business, the data, application, and technology. Now, if you look at a business architecture, what all things we cover under business architecture, if you remember?
It's a business process, people. Yeah, it's a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you remember that, the organization structure, the business goal, the objective, the function, the services, the roles, all this has to be represented in the business architecture blueprint. Getting it? Yeah. Now, phase B, you have a set of people specific to the business architecture requirement. Your business architects who are working on that. Yeah. Who prepare the business architecture requirements of the client and the final blueprint for the architecture given to you by the client. Yeah. If I prepare a business architecture for Bank of America, right, it will include all the details of the bank, the departments, right, and the process involved, the functions involved, the services of the bank, the roles, all that will be part of it. Getting it?
Okay.
Yeah. So here we go. Have a look at this. Okay, now, remember, phase B, C, and D, you have the same steps. Getting it? Now, in phase B, what you're doing is you are preparing the blueprint for the business architecture. Yeah. Phase C, if you look at that, you are doing the data and the application blueprint and the technology in phase D. Now, phase B, C, and D, please remember, all the three phases, it has the same steps as you see on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, let's go to the PDF and have a look at that. What does the PDF say on this one? Thank you. Now, if you look at phase B, all the steps are given in phase B. Yeah. So please remember all the three phases, phase B, C, and D, it has the same steps we follow.
Yeah.
Getting it?
What is the reference models? Could you have a look?
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm coming to. Now, what is a reference model? For example, you don't know how to do a business architecture. How are you going to do it?
Okay.
For example, you are new to the organization. You don't know how to do a business architecture. You have a basic idea like me. Yeah, but how do you do it? So what happens is there are so many reference model available in the market, which can basically help you how to proceed with your architecture work.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, are you familiar with any business architecture models? Right now, if you remember, I discussed something called FIAF yesterday, Federal Enterprise Architecture Framework.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have a framework, they have a model for business architecture.
Okay.
Now, similarly, let me introduce you a few models available in the market, right? Let me open a few of it for you.
Okay. I can see digital business resource model.
So,
I can't hear you. Are you talking?
Just a moment. Now, if you look at the business architecture, so many reference models available in the market. Have you heard of OMG by the OMG Object Management Group?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at Object Management Group, if you go to the website, you will find so many different models for architecture. Getting in. Let me open a few other for you. Now, similarly, so many organizations, they sell business models. Right now, what is the purpose of a business model? Here we go.
To understand the business strategy or a kind of it describes a rational how the organization create. Okay.
Now, if you look at a business architecture model, it will basically tell you how to create the architecture for the business. Now, if I'm doing an architecture, business architecture for the bank, what are the things I have to do and the process I need to follow to develop the business architecture in place or put in place? Getting it? So a business model basically describes or tells me what is the current state you have, how can you approach, what is the approach you can take to develop your target architecture. Getting it? So few examples are given you, as you can see here. Now, what is the benefit of a business model? It will improve communication and the common perspective, things like that. So here we go. Few of the examples. Yeah. So 3-element framework, and better to that, 4-box framework, right? All this are business framework, which will basically guide you how to develop your business architecture.
And are we supposed to build the business architecture from our side as part of this thing?
Well, are you talking about the TOGAF architecture, the codes, what we are doing right now?
No, as part of your certified enterprise architect, are we expected to prepare the business architecture?
Well, of course, yes. Once you get into implementation of that, you have to create that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got an opportunity to put across one?
No, I haven't. Yeah, so it will be basically something, for example, once you're done with the course, maybe do a dummy, but depending, for example, some of the people, they are specifically into technology. Yeah, some are into business architecture, some are into data. So depending on the specification, they work on it. Yeah, so you have reference model available because it will basically guide you and help you how to develop the particular architecture. Getting it? So that is the purpose of a reference model.
I couldn't get it actually. Could you repeat that last?
Reference model, it will basically guide you how to develop the architecture. Now, what does a reference model contain?
Kind of a reference document or high level view, high level yeah.
Okay, now, if I want to develop an architecture for a bank, now, all the things what I need to develop, now a reference model will basically tell me what process I need to follow, right? Or what are the steps I can take to achieve my target. Getting it? Yeah. So it will basically a guide for you to tell you how to develop your business architecture. Getting it? Now, if you ask me, have you done a business architecture? Have you used a business model to develop the architecture? No. Right? But it is a basic, replica in place, which I can use. It will basically guide you how to develop the architecture. Getting it? So that is a reference model. And what are the reference model available in the market? It is basically a guide. Right? FIAF has a reference model available for you. The reference model which I show you, the 4-box, that is available in the market. OMG has so many reference model which I can buy to basically guide me how to develop my business architecture. Getting it? Yeah. So select the reference. So what happened normally is,
I'm trying to correlate to the kind of work what I do and how do I need to do this task.
Okay.
I'm not clearly getting a clarity what am I supposed to do in this state? Let's say, for example, reference model is there. How do I correlate to my business and build across this thing? How do I select the reference model which is relevant to my business? So those things are not quite clear. I'm not getting it.
Well, as I told before, this course, what we are doing, the 4-day certification, basically, it may not cover all the details what you're looking for there. Yeah, you are into what type of architecture? You are into cloud?
Cloud solution architecture, yeah.
Cloud solution architecture?
Cloud solution.
Cloud solution, okay.
Application
So
architecture as well.
Application. You will be looking into what are the application I can create for the architecture, correct?
Yeah, currently,
so,
yes.
Yes.
If I need to move up the ladder to enterprise area, I need to do all those things, correct?
Right. Yeah. So this will only give you a basic idea on what exactly TOGAF is, the framework, how does it help you, things like that. Yeah. It may not teach you on the models involved, how to develop the architecture based on technically how to do it. It may not help you with that.
Okay.
Getting it? Yeah. So if you ask me, oh, technically, can I develop the application based on all the, interrelate the systems involved and all the things have to interconnect and do it? Yeah. No, it may not help you with that. Getting it? Yeah. Reference model is basically simple guidance for you, right? With respect to the system, the enterprise, the software engineering involved. It is an abstract framework.
Okay.
Getting it? Yeah. So that is what a reference model do. Yeah. Now, next one, what is a viewpoint? Any architecture you do, for example, yeah, what exactly you mean by a viewpoint?
Viewpoint are the key points actually which can make the can change the direction or kind of or the.
Okay. Yeah. Now let me give an example for you. Imagine you are sitting in a room, right? Or maybe a group of people, 4 people sitting in a room, right? You have a window in front of you. If you open the window, what do you see outside?
What's there inside, outside those things?
Yeah, what there outside, you see that. Now, is it a view or a viewpoint?
Okay.
Yeah, if you sit inside your room in your house, if you open the window in front of you, what do you see outside? Is it a view or a viewpoint?
It's a view.
It is a view. Now, imagine 10 people are sitting in the room. Everybody sees the same view.
Yeah.
Correct? Now, you are looking from a particular angle. Somebody else is sitting on the right side will maybe looking at a different angle. Somebody at the back will be looking from a different angle.
Yeah.
Getting it? So what they say is you have a different perspective of looking at it.
Yeah.
Getting it? That is what we call a viewpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now everybody sees the same view. Imagine you have the Eiffel Tower in front of your house. You open the window. Everybody sees the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. You are sitting on the left side. Your viewpoint is different. Whatever angle you see is different from whoever is sitting on the right side.
Yeah.
Getting it? You are seeing the same thing, but the angle is different.
Yeah.
That is what we call a viewpoint. Getting it? Now, how do you connect with the architecture work? For example, if you develop an architecture, right? Okay, let's go to the house example, which I gave in the first day. If you construct the house, you create a blueprint for that, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a view or a viewpoint?
Sorry, repeat that last sentence.
If you create a blueprint for a house,
yeah,
is it a view or a viewpoint?
It's a view.
It is a view. Now, everybody has the same view. Now, imagine 10 people involved for making the house plan, right? Somebody will say blue paint is good for the house. Yeah. Somebody will say bathroom should be on the left side of the house, right? Somebody will say kitchen shouldn't be on the first floor, it should be on the ground floor, right? All these are viewpoints. Getting it?
Correct.
Getting it? Similarly, when you do an architecture, if I do architecture for Bank of America, you create a view initially, depending on the concerns of the client. Yeah, for example, in phase B, you create a business architecture. Is it just that you create a random one? No. Depending on the concerns of the client, you create a view, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, no, the client will tell you what exactly they're looking for. For example, what is the business objective of the client? What are the functions in the bank, right? What is the process they follow? Everything they will explain to you. You will get the details of that. Based on all that, they will also tell you the concern, what they're going through. For example, performance concerns of the bank. Their performance is not up to the mark.
Yeah.
Right? So based on all that, you create a view, because you want to better whatever the client has told you, right? As of now, your performance is not good. You have a concern relating to that. So keeping that in mind, you create a view to basically better that.
Okay.
Again, now, the viewpoint is you're 10 people in a team. Every person may have a viewpoint. Somebody will say, okay, the data architecture should be so and so, right? Or the business architecture, the business role should be so and so, right? Or the process we can improve this way. All these are called viewpoints.
Yeah.
Getting in. Second thing I want to tell you, if you look around, so many organizations sell viewpoints. Yeah, like I said before, if you go to ONG website, they also sell different viewpoints for the architecture, right? Primarily, I believe they do for application or data.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you buy a viewpoint from a third party, it will tell you how to create that using their idea. Yeah, if I buy a viewpoint from maybe OMG, that will tell me how to create the architecture for the bank based on their idea. Getting it?
Correct.
It is their viewpoint, right? So please remember, so many viewpoints are available in the market, which I can buy to create the architecture when I do the architecture. Yeah. So imagine 10 people in a team of people. You have a view in play. The chief architect will say this is the final view. And you may have so many viewpoints coming from the people. And he will try to include that viewpoint into the view. Getting it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is basically a viewpoint. So what happens normally is anytime when you start an architecture work, you may have so many viewpoints available in the repository, which you can use to develop the architecture. Getting it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a viewpoint they're talking about. Yeah. So business architecture, step number one, select a reference model which can help you develop the business architecture. Second one, what is the viewpoint you're looking for? Please choose a good viewpoint that can help you enhance the efficiency of your organization or give you better profitability. And the third one, the tools, right? Which is the most suitable tool? Is it Archimate? Is it Sparks? Which suitable tool I can use?
Yeah.
Getting it? So step number one. Step number two, define the baseline architecture description. Now, what is a baseline they're talking about?
Baseline is the kind of a fundamental business architecture.
Okay. Baseline, what they're talking TOGAF is basically what is the current architecture state of the client?
Yeah.
Getting in. If I do an architecture for Bank of America, where do they stand right now? What is the current state? Do they have an architecture or they don't have an architecture? Or even if they have, is it a good one? Where do they stand? Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So define your current architecture description, basically, that is second point. Third one, what is the target you're planning to make? What is the final target business architecture you're planning to make? Getting in? Yeah. So that is the final blueprint I'm going to create in phase B. Getting it? Now, I have to define the target architecture description for the business architecture. Then what I do, the next step is I do a gap analysis. Okay, now tell me, why do we create a gap analysis? What is the purpose of gap analysis?
You understand the kind of difference, or what is that actually, which is the kind of difference expected between the current one and the targeted one. To
Correct.
understand that, we do the gap analysis here.
Very good. Yeah. So if you look at a gap analysis, the purpose is basically to make sure that I don't miss out on anything.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever I plan, it should be available there many times because of maybe people mistake or some other issues. I may miss out on things. To make sure that something is nothing is missing out, I do a gap analysis between the baseline and the target. Yeah. My current state to the target state, I do a gap analysis and find out what all things I have to plug in. And the next one, what is a roadmap basic? What do you understand by a roadmap?
Yeah, roadmap is how do I kind of to achieve the target, what are the steps I have to take, and all those things.
Thank you. So between your baseline and target, what are the things you are supposed, what are the activities you're going to do that will help you with the architecture work? Getting it? Yeah. So roadmap basically describes all the things you do between your baseline and target to finally achieve your target. Getting it? Now I have a question here. What do they mean by, they say, candidate roadmap component? What is a candidate roadmap component? Any idea?
Candidate?
Yeah. What does it say in step number 5? What does it say? Define
candidate roadmap component.
Yeah. What is a candidate they're talking about?
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. So here we go. Candidate, let me tell you a few things here. One, candidate basically refers to, right? Okay. You can make a guess on what exactly could be a candidate here.
Yeah, it's probably the people involved, or the application or the organization.
Thank you. Now, okay, most of the people when they ask you what is a candidate, they say referring to people. Now, please remember, as per TOGAF, yeah, candidate basically candidate transition or candidate target is basically any unapproved transition or target.
Any unapproved?
Yeah, any unapproved transition or target, we call that candidate.
Okay.
Getting it? For example, a working hypothesis, we call that a candidate. Getting it?
Okay.
Yeah. So whenever they mention the word candidate in a project, for example, in level 2, you have to deal with some scenarios given by open group. Yeah. So if they mention candidate, what exactly they mean is any unapproved transition or a target. Got it?
Any unapproved?
Target or a transition. Yes.
Means what exactly is that unapproved transition? For example, the gap is considered as unapproved transition?
Well, between the baseline and target, you carry out so many things to finally achieve your target, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Is it everything is approved initially? No. Yeah.
No.
You carry out a work, you may finally wait for the approval from the stakeholder, the architecture head, and so many other things. Correct? Yes. So you have an hypothesis, we call that working hypothesis. Yeah. What do you use that word, working hypothesis? What do you mean by working hypothesis?
Working hypothesis means kind of agreed or kind of some agreed working this thing, baselines or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So working hypothesis basically is something, for example, provisionally accepted as a basic, however, it is not the finally approved thing. Getting it? For you to read the final approval, it is not that happened. It is basically accepted that you can follow that process, but however, it is not the finally accepted one.
Okay.
Getting it? Yeah.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah. Now, so define the candidate roadmap components involved. Next one, right?
Yeah.
You call for a stakeholder review, right? Who is a stakeholder for you? Who exactly is a stakeholder?
Stakeholder are the people who are involved, or the who makes the decision.
Thank you. Now, a stakeholder
How
can
we
be,
impact the decision.
okay, can be a stakeholder, definitely. Now, please remember, as per TOGAF, anybody part of your project is a stakeholder, or anybody who gets impacted is a stakeholder.
Correct.
Yeah, now if you look at TOGAF, you have a client who's a stakeholder, you have a third party who's a stakeholder, you have the project team, it's a stakeholder, all these are stakeholders. So what you do here is, there are people representing all these different groups who are called for a stakeholder review.
Got it.
Getting it? So what do you do here? You come for a stakeholder review, you decide on the work being carried out so far. Is it as per the requirement? Do you approve that or not? In case of any changes, you tell them that we're not approving it. Please make the changes and come back.
Okay.
Getting it?
So
you
it's
can,
part of a business architecture.
it is. Yeah. So you call for a stakeholder review before you further finalize. Yeah. Once the approval is done, then you finalize the business architecture.
Got it.
Getting it? Then step number 8 says you create the architecture definition document. Do you remember the architecture definition document I explained to you? Yeah.
Yeah.
The folder, or it contains all the different artifacts, correct?
Yeah. You mentioned about, yes, I remember. ADM
Correct.
architecture.
Correct. Yeah. So business architecture, you want to create the blueprint for the business architecture. These are the normal steps we follow. Now, please remember, this will have so many detailing involved, which I cannot provide, and we will not be dealing with that, because that will take maybe around 20 days for you to deal with all that. Yeah. So the codes what we cover in TOGAF, please remember, because the certification element to it, it is a very basic, explanation to the architecture. Yeah, it is a very, very basic. Once you get the certification, then you get into further details.
Okay.
Getting it? Yeah. So this is what we do in business architecture. Now, please remember, same step is followed in phase C and phase D as well.
So basically, there also you define the application or the database architecture.
Yes.
Current and targeted, and do the gap analysis, and define the roadmap, and do the stakeholder review.
Yes.
And finalize the architecture, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Fine with you? Now, next one, let me ask you this one. Phase B is business architecture. Next one, what is phase C about?
Phase C is about information system architecture, basically probably the different systems involved, all those things.
Okay. Information system architecture is basically what we're covering here is, it is the data and the application architecture.
Data and the
application.
Okay.
Yeah. So phase C, what we basically do is, it is the application and the data. Okay. Let me ask you, what exactly you understand by an application architecture?
Application architecture is the architecture which delivers the intended business value of that application by bringing together the different components needed, and the respective kind of upstream, downstream, and also the data model along with it for that application.
Thank you so much. Now, if you look at an application, simple term, what exactly is an architecture? As an application architecture, it is a structural map that will guide you how to assemble maybe all the software applications. Yeah, for example, if you look at a bank, there are so many applications we deal with. For example, mobile application. Correct? Now, when I say application architecture, what exactly I'm looking for is, yeah, how all these applications interact with the software involved, right? Or how does it interact with the data applications? How do they interact with each other? Yeah. And how do they carry out the different functions? For example, you need to log into a website. Do you need an application for that? Yes. Yeah. You need an authentication. You need an application in place. Correct. Yeah. Application also uses data, interacts with the database, because to carry out certain function, application has to interact with the data. Yeah. What database to use? How many, the process for the process involved, what has to be used, server interactions, all that has to be carried out. Yeah. So application architecture, yeah, in simple term, how the software applications are assembled, how those applications interact with each other, including the data and other things. Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what do you mean by data architecture? What is a data architecture?
Data is how do you process the data, and what is the pattern which you follow? That is a data architecture.
Okay. Now, if you look at the bank, for example, you have huge data.
That's right.
Yeah. Maybe the people coming to the bank, everybody's information is stored in the database. Yeah. So what happens is, if you look at a data architecture, basically describe how that data has to be managed. Yeah. How do you look into the data? How do you migrate the data? You distribute the data, right? All this is part of the data architecture. Yeah. What are the data information you need, right? What is the transfer of data required? What is the migration of data required? All this is part of the data, right? So you need to have a data architecture in place who will carry out all these different functions. Yeah. How your data is going to be managed, it is very important for any architecture. Yeah. From the collection to the transition, to the transformation, to the distribution, to the consumption, all that is important in data. Yeah. So that's why you create a data architecture blueprint for data, and it will tell you how the flow happens, how the interaction happens, how the migration happens between different entities. Got it? Yeah. And in data, there are so many other things, including cloud storage, correct? Yeah. Cloud computing, cloud storage, and your data pipeline, data streaming, all that is part of it. Yeah. So basically what happens is, depending on the requirement of the client and the requirement of the project, you create your data and the application architecture. Getting it? To support your architecture, final target, you create the data architecture and the application architecture. Yeah. So you have the business architecture in place, the blueprint, the data architecture, and the application. Now tell me, what do you understand by a technology architecture? What is a technology architecture? You know what's a technology, but what exactly we mean by technology architecture?
See, the applications or any of the systems need to be built using certain specific technologies for when it meant to deliver certain value. So in that direction, what are the different technologies which has to be coming together to deliver this specific application in working with conjunction with other services, other systems, is what will be part of our technology architecture, if I understand correctly.
Thank you. Now let me ask you a question. What is the difference between technology and application?
Technology is more broader, and it is widely it can be interpreted very it's a wide topic. And sorry, you said the application, correct?
Yeah.
Application is more specific to your targeted application or the business which you are looking for. So there are different technologies available for delivering different applications. So based on your application needs, you have to kind of select the relevant technology.
Thank you. Now, if you look at a technology architecture, it will include, maybe your network, your hardware, your software, your security, your data store, right? All the different programs. For example, technology architecture basically design plan for making changes to the technology infrastructure.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you look at application architects basically design the software.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So
could you repeat the last sentence?
Application architects basically design the software, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. So technical architecture, if you look at that per se, it is a form of IT architecture that is used to design your computer systems. Yeah. So technology architecture in TOGAF may involve all the things, including your network, hardware, software, right? How they interact with each other and the functions it carries out. Now, please remember, any architecture you create, finally to make it functional, you need the technology architecture in place. Yeah, you cannot make anything functional, the business or data or application, until you have the right technology in place.
That's right.
Getting it? So you need a technology architecture based on the requirement of the client or the requirement of the organization. Getting it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens is in TOGAF, what exactly are all these 4 domains: your business architecture, the data architecture, your application architecture, and the technology architecture. They work together with each other. They interact with each other to deliver the function as per the requirement of the client. Got it?
Could you repeat that last sentence?
Sure. All the requirement given to by the client, all the 4 domains we discussed, the business, data, application, and technology, they interact with each other, they work with each other to deliver the requirements of the client, right? Yeah. Or make it more efficient. For example, if I'm using a TOGAF architecture framework, what exactly am I trying to do is make all these functions more efficient. Right? All the different domains you're going to use, it should make you more efficient and make the architecture in your organization deliver the requirements of the organization. For example, in a bank, all these 4 domains and the security, they interact with each other and work with each other to carry out different functions in a bank. Getting it? Have you seen some, for example, in a government organization in India, you may not find, if you go to maybe ICICI Bank compared to a government bank, you will find the change. Because if you go to a government bank in India, I'm telling, in foreign countries, a different issue. Yeah. They are not very efficient because firstly, they don't have a proper architecture in place. The framework you use, because of the type of framework they use, it is lagging and very slow in carrying out the different functions. Yeah, but if you use a framework, for example, like TOGAF, and develop all these architecture domains, it will be more fun. It will be basically more efficient. Getting it? The network will be interacting with the server, the data, the applications involved. It will be more efficient and deliver out the different functions. Yeah, so that is what we are trying to do, because when you say architecture, these are the domains we need to work on to make sure that whatever organization I'm going to use it will have a better working capability, efficiency to deliver the function what they have been doing right now. Yeah, for example, in Lloyd's Bank, you decide I'm going to go with a new architecture in Lloyd's Bank and replace the existing framework what they have. You may want to go with TOGAF architecture framework. You make changes to the business architecture, the data architecture, application, and the technology and the security to make it more efficient. And if you do that, TOGAF claims you will see a huge difference in the new bank.
Yeah, I understand.
Getting it? Making it more efficient. Now, coming to FACE, right? What is FACE about? It is FACE, it's called opportunities and solutions. Now, I have a question here. You signed a contract with the client in which phase?
In A, space A.
Okay. Phase A, you signed a contract and it is called statement of architecture work. Yeah. Now, the question is, does it give you permission to do the implementation of the architecture work?
No, I don't think.
Doesn't it? Doesn't. Yes. Yeah. As per TOGAF, you are supposed to sign 2 contracts at least.
Okay.
Yeah. One for carrying out the architecture work, that is statement of work. Second one, you have to sign another contract to do the implementation that is carried out in phase G. It's called architecture contract.
Okay.
Getting it? So two contracts are mandatory. However, if you want, you can sign a contract in phase B, phase C, and phase D for the domains as well if you want to. But 2 contracts are mandatory, one in phase A and second in phase G. Got it? Yeah. So please remember, this is as per TOGAF, not as per project management. This is as per TOGAF. Got it?
Okay.
Now, phase C, what exactly do? You plan for the initial implementation of the project. Yeah. How am I going to implement the project? Everything should be planned in phase E. Getting it? Yeah. Now, what all you do in phase E, you plan the initial implementation planning. Second one, you look into what are the major projects I have to deal with, because you have done the domains in B, C, and D. Now you have so many small modules and projects that has to be implemented. Yeah. Third one, you decide, do I go with an incremental approach? What is an incremental approach basically?
It's iterative way of deploying. Yeah.
Iterative way, incremental. For example, you don't do everything in one go. You may go by phase or part by part.
Yeah, I understand.
That is incremental approach. Yeah. If you do an incremental approach, you will have a transition architect.
You're there? Are you there?
Let's fold clothes together. We're teaching new ways to fold clothes and save space. There are different ways to fold clothes depending on the type of clothing item. Folding cotton jackets properly can help prevent
Can you hear me, Ganesh? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Now here we go. What we're talking about, incremental approach and transition architecture. Now, between your baseline and target, yeah. Yeah. What happens is, if you have a roadmap in place to realize your target architecture, you will have clear targets along the roadmap. Right? Or between your baseline and target, there will be milestones. It may not be everything in one go, I'm done with. No, there will be milestones in between, correct?
Correct.
depending on the activities you carry out. So that is what we call a transition architecture, yeah, between your baseline and the target. Getting it? Now, so next one, you decide on the approach. Yeah. Am I going to do the entire project in-house, or am I going to give to a third party? How am I going to do it? Yeah. So what happens, you have an option, either you can do it in-house or go to a third party and get it done. Right? You know what's the COTS, by the way? What's the COTS?
Yeah.
Yeah. Commercial of the shelf. Right?
Yeah.
So if you can go to a third party and buy ready-made product that is commercial off the shelf.
Yeah.
Getting it? Also, one more thing. What do you understand by dependency in IT? What exactly the dependency?
Dependency could be in many ways. Whether it could be upstream, downstream, your technology stack, or your skill set. Many more kind of dependency.
Okay. Now, dependency can be internal or external. However, dependency is something like until you finish with step 1, you cannot go to step 2. That's a dependency.
Okay.
Getting it? Yeah. So what happens when you do an architecture you need to identify the dependency so that you can follow a path, follow your trajectory, what exactly has to be done first, and prioritize it and then go.
Okay.
Now, one more thing I want to tell you. All the things what you do in phase ABCD is called architecture building block.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all the solution you plan and create in phase C, phase F, and phase G, and phase H is called solution building block.
Okay.
Again, so you know the difference between.
Could you repeat that?
Sure, I'll tell you. Now, what is the difference between architecture building blocks and solution building block?
Architecture is from a design perspective. Solution is more from a building and implementation perspective. Delivery perspective.
Thank you. Now, architecture building block is all the blueprints you create, all the planning and blueprint you did in A, B, C, and D. We call that architecture building block. Getting it? All the solution you create is called solution building block. Getting it? Let me give an example. For example, if you look at Oracle, Oracle takes so much of database and customize it for the requirements of the clients. Yeah, all the database which you use is called architecture building block, and the customized solution you create is called solution building block.
Okay.
Getting it? Yeah. So all that you do in A, B, C, and D, we call that architecture building block. Now, one more thing I want to tell you. If you look at the architecture building block, it will define what is the functionality that is going to be implemented finally. Yeah, architecture building block, they capture your business and technical requirements, frankly speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for example, whatever you decide in phase B, it is called architecture building block. It will decide or define what is the functionality that will be finally implemented will be based on that.
Correct.
Getting it? So in simple terms, architecture building block, they capture your business and technical requirements.
Correct.
Yeah, and other ways, they will direct and guide the development of your solutions, basically.
That's right.
Getting it? Yeah. So all the architecture building blocks are A, B, C, and D is called architecture building block. And whatever you do from phase C onwards is called solution building block. Clear with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So solution building blocks relate to the solutions and architecture building block specific to the architecture.
Got it.
Okay. Now, what else you do in phase C? Two more things I want to tell you. Now, do you carry out a gap analysis in B, C, and D? Do you carry out gap analysis? We do that. Now, all the gap analysis you carry out, it is consolidated in phase E.
Correct.
Getting it? Also, you have a roadmap in B, C, and D. All the roadmap is consolidated in phase C. Yeah. So please remember, consolidation happens in phase E. The roadmap is consolidated, right? The gap analysis is consolidated. All the consolidation happens in phase E. Got it? Yeah. In simple term, it is a transition phase between your architecture building block and the solutions you create. Getting in? Yeah. So phase is opportunities and solution, where you try planning for initial implementation and you create a basic outline of the implementation is created here. Got it? Now, what is phase up basically? What is phase up?
Phase up is probably the actual implementation or kind of any data migration or anything required.
Thank you.
From for work package and project identity.
Okay, so listen carefully. What you do in phase up is called migration planning. So many things happens in phase up. For example, you now who does the implementation in TOGAF? Who does the implementation?
The what do you call the development team, or what do you call that? What do we call in TOGAF? I don't know. The technical team basically.
Okay. Now, please remember, in TOGAF, implementation is carried out by the project or the portfolio team.
Okay, call it project team. Okay.
Yeah. So it is the project or the portfolio team who will finally implement the architecture in TOGAF.
So is it kind of is the architecture not part of a project team?
Okay. Very good question. Okay. Now let me take you to the steps. Can you see the steps here in phase up? Can you see that on the screen?
Yeah. The level of the detail addressed in the phase
Correct.
will depend on the scope and goal of our overall architecture efforts.
Okay. Yeah, let me explain to you. Step number one, I'll explain that to you. Then I'll tell you about what the question which you asked me just now. Now, step number one, what you do is you coordinate with the business planning team, the project team, the portfolio team, and the operation team for the implementation work. Yeah. Okay. Who coordinates? It is the architecture team who coordinates.
That's correct.
Yeah, you will coordinate with business planning because you need to know what are the different help required for that. Yeah, you coordinate with the project and portfolio because they are going to do the final implementation. Yeah, you coordinate with the operations because once you finish with the implementation, right, all the day-to-day activities like your monitoring, your support has to be carried out by the operations, correct? Yeah, so please remember, the architecture team coordinates with all the different categories of people. Now, does the architecture team get involved with the implementation? Not directly. It is carried out by the project portfolio team. However, all the architecture team members or the people involved will be monitoring the implementation and giving support as required. Got it? Fine with you? Yeah. Phase F, step number 2 in phase F is assign a business value for each work package. Now, what do you mean by a work package?
Probably a deliverable.
Okay. Work package is all the work that you need to carry out to deliver the solution, correct? Yeah. Now, for example, in your organization, the project manager gives work packages to the team manager. Yeah, for example, sure, in a single project, you may have so many team managers, right? The project manager, what they do is, he will give the team manager so many different modules to be completed. Yeah, what are the different active work to be completed? Because in a single project, that would involve so many different modules. So many different teams are required. Yeah, so the project manager assigns work to the team manager. You call that work package.
This nomenclatures, anywhere it is defined, it's quite kind of it could be confusing if it comes as part of a question. Okay. If we, yeah, all this, the namings or anything.
Okay, now, what is a work package? Have a look at this one. What is, now please remember, whatever question you have, you cannot go by project management definition or anything. It has to be according to TOGAF, right?
Yeah, that's the reason. Yeah, I need to understand, correlate at least. So
correct, yeah. So what exactly is a work package as per TOGAF? Yeah, let me check on that definition given.
No, probably it's defined previously.
Yeah. Can you see this on the screen? A set of actions identified to achieve one or more objective for the business, correct? Getting it? So it can be any of the activities you carry out. For example, maybe development work, right? Or it could be coding work. It could be, that's a work package. Getting it? Yeah. So what we do in phase F, yeah, you assign a business value to each of the work package. Now the question is, what do you mean by a business value? Yeah. You assign a business value to each of the work package. What is a business value? Please remember, every module you do carries a certain value, correct? Yeah, every module of project you do carries a certain value. It is called a business value. Now, before you implement the project, you should know every module, what is the work package, what is the value it is going to generate. Getting it? How do you calculate the value? It could be maybe depending on the return of investment, right? It could be based on critical success factors. It could be any of those. Yeah. Assign a business value to each of the work package. Yeah. Every work package comes with the business value. Third one, step number 3, right? In phase F, right? Step number 3, what you do? Estimate the resource requirement, the project timing, and the delivery vehicle. Yeah. What all resources you need? You need people resource, you need software, hardware, tools, all resources required. Yeah. Estimate the resource requirement for implementation. Second one, when are you going to do it? Yeah. And the third one, who is the delivery vehicle for you? Who is the delivery vehicle here? It is the project or the portfolio team. Got it? Now, step number 4, prioritize the project. Which one are you going to do first? Which one are you going to do second? You have to decide on that.
Okay.
Getting it? Yeah. Next one. Yeah. Confirm the architecture roadmap. Now, if you remember, phase E, do you create a consolidated roadmap in phase E?
Sorry?
Yeah. Do you create a roadmap in the previous phases?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not exactly. We have as part of gap analysis, yes, we do have a roadmap.
Yeah. Phase B, you create a roadmap for business architecture. Phase C, you create a roadmap for data application. And phase D, you create for technology. Now, if you look at phase E, you consolidate the roadmap in phase E. Yeah. Phase of what you do, you keep on updating that. You confirm the architecture roadmap and you update it. Also update your architecture definition document. Getting it? Because sometimes there could be some change probabilities there. Some changes can happen. Yeah. So please remember, phase F is a phase before implementation. Everything has to be finalized in phase F. Getting it? Yeah. Before implementation happens in phase G, everything has to be finalized in phase F. Yeah. So that's why next step says complete the implementation migration plan. So you have a detailed implementation migration plan. Yeah. Also, please remember so many things you do in phase F. For example, do a cost benefit analysis you carry out. Have a look at the PPT. I'm going back to PPT now. In phase F, few other things to remember is, for example, you carry out a cost benefit analysis is carried out in phase F, because before you implement, you should know what is the cost and benefit. Yeah. How much have I invested? What is the expected benefit from each of the modules? Right. Also, you do a risk assessment.
How do we do that? Anything? Can you just show me something on that cost benefit analysis?
Sure. Now, every module which you do, how much money have you invested, right? And what is the benefit you're expecting from that?
Yeah, how do you articulate the benefit? Because
okay, yeah. So there are different ways of carrying it out. For example, return of investment criteria.
yeah.
Yeah. How much money have I invested in each of the modules? Yeah. And what is the expected result from that?
No, because it's yeah, if you look at it, there are dependencies on one another. How do you really articulate it's really?
Okay, here we go. If you have a doubt, where do you check on that? It is on the PDF. Okay, so here we go. Let's look at the step. Okay, here we go. It says confirm the, okay, not this one. Here we go. Okay, prioritize the migration of projects through conduct of a cost benefit assessment, correct?
Prioritize the migration project.
Yeah, what exactly the cost benefit they're talking, this is what I was telling you. Yeah, you need to find out the business value, each of the modules. How do you do that? Against the cost of delivery. For example, a single module, how much money have I invested for delivering that module, and what is the expected benefit out of that? Getting it? What happens if you look at any project, before you implement, you make an assessment, how much is the expected benefit from that project? Every project does that.
No, that they do. I do understand it, but I'm trying to understand. Basically, see, I can understand how much effort is required to build it. I can estimate, but how do I exactly get a benefit out of those, and how much is the savings is little hard to say, because it is not straightforward. Let's say, for example, there's several dependent systems and all, and if it is one independent system, yes, you can articulate. When it comes to dependent system, it becomes hard.
It because you need the analysis team. You have to estimate. Basically, you have to put everything in a monitoring unit, right? Everything has to be measured, right? For example, how much money I'm spending for a particular module. You have a basic idea on that. You have the analysis team who does that for you. They will tell you how much money has been invested. What is the expected benefit out of that? You, as a team, you sit together, you know what is the expectation from a project. Yeah. And if you do an analysis, you get a basic idea what is the expected benefit from each of the modules.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So many formulas are used in an organization, different ways of calculating it. Yeah, we have so many formulas we use in organization. Yeah, and to calculate that. Getting it? Yeah. So that is what we do to find out that. Also, we do a risk assessment to find out what are the risks involved in phase F. Yeah. And finally, you have a detailed implementation migration plan. Now, one more thing I want to tell you, in phase F, at the back end, so many other things happen. For example, you do what to call, maybe testing happens, coding happens, development happens. So many things happen at the back end.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So that is phase F. At the end of phase F, you have a detailed implementation migration plan. Yeah. However, having said that, like there are so many detailing associated with that. In TOGAF, this 4-day course, we won't be able to get into all the details. It's not part of the scope. However, yeah, you should understand that at the back end, all the things happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For example, you do a cost benefit analysis, a team of people who do it. So what are the parameters we use for that to calculate that? All that is very important.
Yeah. Okay. So let me understand this one. And yeah, it's kind of little too many things going in. Because I was just thinking, where do you really code? Now you're saying it's in a migration.
Mm.
The planning stage, actually, the coding and testing happens. I was
Yeah.
thinking till now it starts with the stage.
Yeah, no,
But-
no, no. One moment. It
Mm.
will start in phase C. You can do it in so many things happen in phase C, phase F, even in phase G when you implement. Before that, so many coding testing work happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it will be in phase C, phase F, and phase G. All this happens. Got it?
Got it. Mm-hmm. And can you just share me that document, please, on the chat itself here? Because it's really kind of that so many information is there in it, which probably I need to really go through that documentation to get a fuller understanding. Because you statement of work or kind of work, delivery work,
Okay.
some
Yeah. Has it
all
not been
those
shared
things.
with you till now? Ganesh hasn't
No,
shared till now? No. Okay,
no.
okay, yeah. Okay, maybe I'll check with him. I'll share directly if possible. Okay, can you share your mail ID?
On team, it's possible. Yes.
Yeah, mail ID.
Mail ID, yes, I can share it across. Yes.
Because so many things are there and there's so many things has to be shared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to share one or two, company use statement of work template. Okay.
Yeah, and probably if you have any real-time documentation of any of those things, it would be really helpful to kind of go through each document to understand how it evolved from the preliminary stage to at each stage, what was deliverables and what was captured in it. Probably that would be of great help.
I'll do that. Yeah. Statement of work, what to call a populated template. I'll be sharing it with you. But please remember the organization, they may not give you all the data available in that, but yes, some of it. Okay. So what you can take a 5-minute break and come back.
Yeah. All
Okay,
right.
5-minute break. I'll forward the mail with you to you and I'll inform Ganesh also. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. Shall we start, Srini?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Now, I shared to mail with you, okay, and maybe I'll inform Ganesh, yeah. And I'm trying to send a statement of work, one or two I try to download, okay. I'll try to send it to you. Now, coming back to phase, we finished with phase. The next one, phase G is a phase where you finally implement all that you created so far. Yeah, so phase G is basically, you should call it implementation and governance, because all the blueprints you created, all the work you carried out so far, it is finally implemented in phase G. Yeah, now few things in phase G, there are so many details which I'll be covering in level 2. Now, few things to know. One, before you implement, you have to sign an architecture contract.
Okay.
Right? Architecture contract has to be signed, because whatever contract you signed before this, it is not valid for implementation. Yeah. Second one, whatever you implement, you should look for conformance of the architecture work. Whether is it conforming to the requirement as given to you by the client in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. Third one, please remember, every implementation you carried out comes with a huge risk, right? So please manage the risk involved, or follow all the process as per the requirement. And finally, produce a business value realization. Means once you implement the project, what is the business value you are generating because of that? Right? So in phase of, you looked into what is the expected business value, and here what you're looking into is, once I implement, what is the value finally generated? Yeah. So maybe you look for maybe a 10, 3 months period or 6 months period, all that.
Okay.
Yeah. So phase D is implementation governance. Also, all the governance activity to take care of compliance, conformance, all that is taken care of.
Okay.
Okay. Now, phase D is over. Now, phase H, it is about change management. Okay. Now, I want to know, when do you make changes?
When there's some improvements or tweaking required from the agreed application requirement.
Very good. So please remember, change can happen anytime.
Yeah.
Change can happen anytime. Right? Either beginning of a project, middle of a project, end of a change can happen. Right? So you have to be prepared. So any change that comes through has to go to the change management department. Second very important thing, every change has to be approved by the architecture board. Getting it? You cannot carry out a change until it is approved by the architecture board.
Correct.
Getting it? So phase such a change management. Also, do you know what's a change management tool? Are you familiar with any change management tool?
Yeah, many in fact. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, name one or two which you're familiar with.
There are many. ServiceNow.
Okay.
And previously, it used to be many others as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
Jira.
Jira, yeah, very good. Yeah. So what is the purpose of change management tool? What is the purpose? Why do we do it?
Basically to kind of manage the new addition or changes which is expected to come as
Correct.
part of the application.
Okay. Not only that, it is more accurate, right? It will cover the risk involved. We have a basic idea what is happening. Yeah. So change management tools are very, very accurate as well. Correct? Yeah. So change management tools are used. Now, phase search is about change management. Now, the question is, what are the conditions when change happens? For example, many times the client will come and tell you they're looking for a change even after you complete the work.
Yeah.
I can give an example. For example, phased is technology architecture. Yeah. So what happened many times, even after you complete almost implementing the project, the client will come and tell you a new version of the technology has come in the market. Please go with the new version.
Correct.
It is a change we have to carry out.
Correct.
Second one, because of the requirements of the project, many change happens because of the requirement.
Sorry?
Yeah, many change happens because of requirements management.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, when you're carrying out the architecture work, what is the work of requirements management? What they do exactly is take care of all the requirements you have when you do the architecture work.
Correct.
Getting it? And many times, because of the requirements you place, that will finally get into a change because of that. Or that will in turn create a change for the project.
Correct.
Getting it? Yeah. So we have to take care of that as well. Yeah. So change can come from different sources, the client, the project team, or because of the changes you are doing in the project and all those things.
Yeah.
When with you now, TOGAF library available online. As we search today, you can go and search on that. So many things you can find there.
Okay.
Now, what I want to show you here, it is very important. Every phase, the objective and the approach. Yeah, what is the objective and the approach in all the phases? Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go into the PDF and do that. Now, every phase you cover, you need to know the objective and the approach.
Yeah, very important.
Now, preliminary phase, what is the objective of preliminary phase? Two things you have. One, determine the capability decided by the organization. Now tell me, what do you understand by a capability?
What is the your architecture need to support expected once we go through this specific architectural review or delivery? Yeah, that's what it is, architecture capability, current architecture capabilities.
Right. Okay, now capability can be anything. For example, technical capability, infrastructure capability, or skill capability. It could be anything. Yeah. So what happens in the preliminary phase? Two objectives here. One, determine the architecture capability decided by the organization. Which organization are they talking about?
The customer client.
Not exactly. Here, primarily, they're talking about the organization doing the project.
Okay, that is a client, correct?
Client, basically, we refer to the business or the people who come to us business for the business.
Okay.
Yeah. Who is the client? Anybody who come to us for business is our client, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So that will be Bank of America is our client.
Correct. Here,
we are talking about your organization who is carrying out the architecture work.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first thing, determine the capability decided by the organization, right? What is the capability you need to carry out the architecture work? And keeping that in mind, there's something called capability maturity model.
Correct.
Yeah. Who introduced capability maturity model? The CMU University, Carnegie Mellon University.
I don't know the university, but yeah, I know that actually.
Okay. So the CMU people. So what happens is, it will come to your organization, they will do an audit and tell you, where do you lack?
Correct.
Or they will tell you how you can improve to the next level. And there are 5 different levels, 0 to 5, 6 levels. Yeah? And they will tell you which level you stand and give a certificate, also help you reach the next level. Got it?
I understand.
Fine with you? Yeah. So we look for capability. Second one, what is the objective of the preliminary phase? Second part, whatever you lack, you need to establish that.
Whatever you lack?
Yeah, you need to establish that. For example, if you lack in any capability, you have to establish that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. For example, you lack in technical capability, you have to establish the new technology as per the requirement.
Correct.
Okay. So preliminary phase, this is my objective. Don't forget that. Now, they will ask you question from objective, input and output.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one, I'm going into phase A, right? Phase A, what is the objective? Here we go. What is the objective of phase A? Develop a high-level aspirational vision of the capabilities.
Okay.
Yeah. What is the final target architecture you're planning to make? Second one, getting an approval for the statement of work is the second objective.
Okay.
Okay. Next one, phase B, if you go to phase B, C, and D, we have the same steps we carry out. The objective also remains the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, same objective. For example, in phase B, you have to develop the target architecture and you need to identify the roadmap components.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the objective of phase B. And phase C and phase D, the same objectives. Got it?
Yeah. Tell me one thing. In organization, it all looks like a more like a waterfall model, which follows one after the other. But in real world,
it is not.
How
it is not. You're right. It is not at all a waterfall. Yeah, it is not. It is, see, it has been given all the. It is not a sequential thing. I told you before. It is not like
I remember.
Preliminary phase, phase A, phase B. No.
How do you do that?
Yeah, real world. For example, phase A, you sit as a team. You do the phase A. Then the chief architect assigns the work to different teams. Phase B will be the business architecture team, the data architecture, application. Now, business architecture is B doesn't mean that they finish off all the work first. No.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be the data application also. Also, you need to coordinate all this work in the end and consolidate it in phase E and F.
You means will be the enterprise
architecture team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to coordinate it. Also, if you want to make any changes to phase B again, you have to go back, make changes to phase B and come back again. Yeah, it is iterative. It is not a waterfall exactly. It is not sequential. No. Getting it? So it can be done parallelly. Getting it? For example, if I want to put phases to, after phase D, can I do that? Yes, I can do that.
Yeah. Only thing in the, what do you call that? The till phase D, you call that design phase, correct? What is it called? Design.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. In that one, you can shuffle, but afterwards it has to be more of a sequential.
Somewhat sequential, yes, somewhat sequential, but not everything, right?
Yeah.
After that, it will be, yeah, but once project management comes into picture, then agile and project, all that can happen. Okay.
There's a lot of streamlining which can be done for TOGAF this time.
Correct, yeah.
It's not really telling you to what are the dependencies you have between each other and how do you streamline it. And probably it's because it depends on the project as well.
Correct. Okay. Next one, phase E. What is the objective of phase E? Generate the initial complete version of the roadmap, right? And you decide on whether incremental approach is required, right? And things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Phase F, if you look at that, migration planning, phase F, yeah. And this is the objective, finalize the roadmap, right? Finalize the implementation, finalize the migration, everything is finalized in phase F. Yeah. Also, you ensure a business value or cost of work packages is calculated. Fine with you? Phase of next one, phase G, right? What is the objective of phase G? To finally implement the project, yeah, and ensure conformance. Yeah. Ensuring conformance with the target architecture is the objective. Yeah. Now, phase H change management. What is the objective of phase H? Here we go. Ensure your architecture life cycle is maintained. Yeah. Ensure your architecture governance framework is executed. Things like that. Yeah. I want to show you something else also. Now, if you look at phase H, here we go. Yeah. Phase H, right? What is the objective of phase H as you see on the screen? What is the objective here? Here you go. Ensure the architecture life cycle is maintained. Now, one more thing here. What is the goal of architecture change management? What is the goal here? Is to ensure that architecture achieves its original target business value. Getting it? Yeah. That is the object. That is the goal of change management. Got it? Yeah. So there is phase H. Yeah. So all the phases are done. You have the basic. Now, between the preliminary to phase H, did you get a basic idea what we do?
Yeah, I do get a basic idea, but I'm trying to kind of correlate to the real world example.
Yeah.
That is where I'm a little lagging now. I have
It will
go through the document.
Correct. Now, first get into finish off with this one, and then try to, as I told you, until you do a dummy project, at least you cannot do that, because the preliminary, the certificate, this is all very, very basic stuff. We try to get into all that. We won't have time to finish this.
No, but intention is not just the certification. I should be able to use that knowledge.
You should be able to use it. That's right, correct. But the TOGAF certification, it will give you a very basic idea, may not help you too much with the implementation, because once you're certified, you have to get into a little more knowledge hunting to get into implementation.
Understood.
Yeah, getting it. Now, next one. Okay, can you tell me any technology related driver in a project? What is a technology related driver?
Let's say, for example, now there are synchronous to asynchronous communication. That's a technology related issue, not the actual business issue, which could be the driver to bring in a change.
Correct. Any change you do technically could be a driver.
Correct.
Right? The next one. What is a business related driver? Any example of a business related driver?
It could be extending your existing business portfolio and bringing in new functionality or new services to your business. That's a straightforward one.
Thank you. Yes. Any strategic change you make or decisions you make could be a business related driver.
Okay.
Getting in any strategic change. Yeah. For example, your organization makes a strategic decision. It could be a business change. It could be a business driver. Got it? Yeah. Or business innovation, business exception. All these are examples.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, next one. If you look at change, as per TOGAF, change is categorized into three.
Simplification, incremental. Okay.
Simplification, incremental, rearch. Now, I want to tell you the difference between the three. Now, simplification, you don't have to go through the ADM at all. It is some change, doesn't require you to go to any of the phases of the ADM.
Correct.
Second one, Incremental, any change you make where you have to go through 1, 2, or 3, etc. phases of the ADM. For example, like I told you yesterday, the client comes and tells you a new version of the technology. You have to go to phase D and then phase G, implement that and done with it.
Yeah.
Third one, re-architecting. Re-architecting is something like a major change where you have to go through all the phases of the ADM. It's called re-architecting. Got it? So 3 types of change: simplification, incremental, and re-architecting. Got it? Fine with you? Now, coming to requirements, here we go. What is the purpose of requirement and what are the things they do? Now, please remember, requirement management does only 3 things. They will do only 3 things. 1, identify the requirements given to them. Second one, the storage. And the third one, deliver to the phases when required.
Sorry, repeat that.
Yeah. 3 things done by the requirements management team. 1, they identify your requirements. Second one, whatever requirements you give, if anything has to be stored, for example, maybe a tool, they will store it for you. Yeah, for example, phase G will be done next month. Today, you place a requirement for some tools to be used in phase G. What the requirement team do is they will procure it and store it for you. Got it?
So basically, they facilitate kind of infra kind of thing.
Right.
Or yeah, they will have all the tools and the basic requirements.
It can be anything: hardware, software, artifact. It could be anything. Yeah, and the third thing they do is they deliver it to the phases when you want it. Yeah? Okay. So please remember this one. Requirement management does only 3 things, nothing more, nothing less. They identify your requirement, they store it and deliver it to the phase. Got it? Now, objective of the requirements phase: ensure the requirement management process is sustained. Yeah. And the requirements are taken care. That is the objective.
Manage architecture requirement identified during an action. Ensure that the relevant architecture requirements are available for use by each phase. The TOGAF Standard specifies generic needs for requirement. Standard specifies generic needs for requirement. It is recommended use to business scenarios.
Now, sorry for that. Now, something called waiting room, right? You know what's a waiting room actually? There are certain terms in TOGAF which is very, very different. You should know that anyway. Waiting room is basically what happens is if you do any architecture project, you will buy so many different things.
Correct.
You will procure so many different things, but at the same time, you may not use everything together.
Correct.
Yeah, you may use it in a future project probably. Yeah, some things I buy today, I may not use it for the present project. Maybe in future I may use it. Yeah, so that storing is called waiting room. Got it? Yeah, storing future requirements is called waiting room.
Okay.
When with you remember that term?
Backlog.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Are you familiar with the versioning in organizations? How do they version it? Yeah. So for example, when you do a drafting, it will be 0.1, 0.2, and finally version 1. Then minor changes 1.1, 1.2, for example. Yeah. And major changes will be version 2, version 3, like that. Correct? Yeah. In TOGAF, there are 2 versions mentioned here. 0.1. 0.1 indicates a high-level outline of the architecture is in place. Now tell me, where do you find this 0.1 version in ADM? Which phase?
In the beginning, where in the phase A.
Okay. Phase A is the right answer. Very good. Now, second one is version 1, indicates a formally reviewed detailed architecture. Where do you formally review and detailed architecture is created?
Reviewed detailed architecture. I think it's see, the architecture, detailed architecture in the sense it includes business architecture.
Yes, you're right. Phase B, phase
yeah,
B, C, and D, if you look at that, it is reviewed and you finalize. You have a meeting with the stakeholders as well and you finalize.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
so
this is not combined one yet.
It is not a combined one. That will go as a new version.
Yeah. Then yeah, it's a till all H it will be, sorry, till all
G.
F, correct? D.
Correct. Yeah. So version 1 you can find in B, C, and D, and then depending on the changes you make, the version will change.
Yeah.
Getting it? Now, here we go. Next one, next topic, guidelines and technique. Now, please remember, you know what's a guideline? What do you mean by a guideline?
Guidelines, kind of a more of a suggested.
Correct. Yeah. It will basically tell you which path to take, which direction to take. Yeah. So here, when I said guideline, we are talking specifically about ADM. Getting it? So please remember, when we speak about guideline in TOGAF, we are talking about guidelines to help adapt the ADM. Got it? Yeah. For example, have a look at this as a guideline. These are the 3 guideline ways to apply iteration to the ADM. Yeah. Security consideration for the different ways. This is a guideline. Got it? Yeah. So what happens is when you do an architecture, some guidelines specific to the ADM, it is called guideline. Okay. Second one.
Who defines these guidelines?
How do you find that?
Who defines these guidelines?
Okay. It is guideline. These guidelines are given by whom? Who gives this guideline? By the open group.
Okay.
Yeah. Open group has given this guideline. Now, unless they specify it, whenever they say guideline, they're talking about guideline relating to ADM. Got it? Unless they specify. Got it? Generally, if I say guideline, I'm talking about guideline to the ADM. Yeah. To deal with different scenarios. Second one, what do you understand by technique basically? What is a technique?
Technique is a method of getting it achieved.
Okay. It is a way of doing something, correct? For example, gap analysis, risk management, all these are techniques. Yeah, these are techniques. Getting it? In TOGAF, all these are techniques. Business scenarios, gap analysis, risk management, all these are techniques. Got it? So please remember, guidelines help you to adapt to the ADM. Right? And techniques support specific tasks within the ADM. Got it?
Yeah. Guidelines is high level, and each how do you attain that? Each one is in more technical subject.
Yes. Now, let's leave that. Next one, architecture principles we already covered. Yeah, we went through the template, the name statement, all that we went through, right? Examples also. Okay. Did you go through it by the okay? You didn't have the content, so make sure that you go through it today.
Yeah.
Next one, I want to ask you. All the details, the requirement given to you by the client in the preliminary phase, is it sufficient for you to carry out the architecture work?
Sorry, sir, repeat that.
Okay. The client gives you request for architecture work in the preliminary phase, correct? Yeah. Is it sufficient for you to carry out the architecture work?
May not be always.
Yeah, may not be at all, because for you to do the architecture work, you may need so many other details.
Correct. Once we start exploring,
then only will practically, yes. Because whatever the client gives you, they may not have the knowledge what exactly to be given. They will just tell you what exactly they're looking for. Yeah. So what happened is something called business scenario technique. Yeah. What is a business scenario technique? It's a method I use basically to help, identify and understand the detailed requirements of the client. Yeah. A business scenario will tell me what is the problem of the client, the environment they work on, the objectives, the people involved, the computers, roles and responsibility, and I can refine it to get more details.
Correct.
Okay, so business scenario is a technique. Also, please remember, a business scenario has to be smart. Yeah, what does SMART stands for? They may someday ask you this one in question paper. SMART stands for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time bound.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah. We use that actually.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. And now the next one, which phase you think you can use the business scenario technique? Which phase you can use it?
Business architecture stage.
Yeah, you can use it in maybe phase A to get into details of the client, phase B for the business architecture details primarily, correct? Yeah, so mostly in phase A and phase B, also maybe sometimes in preliminary phase.
How do you use it in prelim, for example?
Okay, preliminary phase may be to understand the requirement of the client. Yeah, I may have to go and probe with the client, have a meeting with the client.
Okay.
Yeah, but please remember, primarily it is phase A and phase B. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, gap analysis, I'll cover to how much time do you have now?
Another 10 minutes probably.
Okay.
I can catch up again later.
Okay, so let me know 1 hour, because sometimes if I go out, because my children come, sometime yesterday they wanted me to buy they have some project in the school. So then I went out and came into, by the time I'll be late. Yeah. So if you know little early, what time you're joining, I'll do. Okay, I'll be ready. Yeah, okay, yeah. And maybe I want to show you a few of the, yeah. Now, please remember, anybody who attends my class, yeah, certification is concerned, it will be taken care. No need to worry on that. But yes, the project and other thing, we have to work on so many other things. Yeah, we have to work on that. Now, some review. So the TOGAF course normally when people take, it is basically for the certification initially. Once you're certified, then you get into other things. Getting it? Yeah. Now, I want to show you a few testimonies. Here we go. Just a moment. Now, few testimonies I want to show you. Now, please remember the certificate. You don't have to worry on that. Just to show you few testimonies. Now, what's that? Yeah, so many which came. Okay, yeah. Here we go. One Terry, which came, I think, 2-3 days back. You see this on the screen. Yeah, she passed the TOGAF exam. Yeah. Some more, let me show you some. Yeah. Benjamin, it came on 2nd of August, yesterday. Yeah. 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 So he did well. So likewise, so get the certification first done, then we'll get into work on further. Getting it? Yeah. Shane, I want to show you. Shane is the head of, Shane basically is the head of one of the universities in California, right? Shane Anderson, you can check on LinkedIn maybe. Yeah. And so he did well, and he also sent me a congratulatory letter. Yeah. So many like that. So as far as exams are concerned, it is taken care. Okay, you have to take it for granted. Fine with you? Yeah. Only you have to practice. Yeah. Carol from New Zealand. Okay. Now say, look at the scores. Yeah. 92 and 90%. Yeah. Yeah. And even Shane scored something really good. Shane's score was also good. Yeah, here we go. 95% for level 2.
That's really good.
It's really great. Okay. So Shane is, I think, one of the, I forgot the name of the university. Yeah, in California. So he did, this was what he wrote. Yeah. So once we do that, then we'll work on the further next one. Because if I go into getting into all those, implementation stuff now, it will not work out, and the certification course may not align with that requirement, because it is a very, very basic initial qualification that you are a practitioner for architecture is what it covers.
Got it. Understood. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me know afternoon whenever you're free, or evening, night also. Yeah. So just inform me a little early, maybe 1 hour before. I'll be ready for you. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you tomorrow, and hope you got the content, and I'll be sharing one more
we'll
today.
Catch up in the later in the day today.
Yeah.
I'll go through the content, and we'll catch up.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.